Hi, welcome to episode 12 of the Book Set Completionist. My name is Tom. Today I'm reviewing some crime and legal thriller novels, but before that, we've got a book set to reveal. I do, yes. What's this? 3 parts in this trilogy. Yum. Well, first, when was it published? It's been published in the years 2015, 16, and 17. I usually read more like older stuff from the 90s, from the 80s, 70s, and so forth. But here we are, 2015, 16, 17. Okay, so what is it about? It's about a magical world where certain people have powers involving seismic activities. Yeah, these people can conjure up earthquakes. Wow. Amazing. So yeah, we're talking about a fantasy series, and the author is American. It's a woman, and yeah, no, okay. Her name is N.K. Jemisin, and these are her first 3 novels, and they are called together the Broken Earth Trilogy. There they are. We've got the 5th season as part 1, then the Obelisk Gate, and finally the Stone Sky. Not the Scone Sky. Okay. I saw a short interview with this author, and she said that she was very struggling in finishing the first book, and that she had almost given up. Fortunately, she persisted, and she kept on writing, and look at this. It won the Hugo Award, as did part 2. And did part 3 win too? It's got the sticker, but it just says that it's the author, okay, of a Hugo Award-winning book. I'm not sure if this one got it too, but very popular. Although I did see some mixed reviews online. Some people seem not to be very happy with some of the creative choices that Miss Jemisin made. I think it has something to do with the POV. I think it's written in a second-person perspective, like you go there, and then you did that, and well, second-person perspectives are very rare, and they might not please everybody. But well, if you want to be unique, then you have to do something about that. Hey, there you go. I'm looking forward to reading these at some point. I don't know when. When I do, I'll post a review and share my thoughts. But don't hold your breath. All right, let's go to some reviews, shall we? Oh wait, let's go and take a closer look at the artwork of these books. Come on. Okay, never mind. Okay, let's take a look at the Broken Earth Trilogy by J.K. Jemisin. We've got part 1 called The 5th Season. Intricate and extraordinary, according to the New York Times. Oh, here we have a tagline. Every age must come to an end. Okay. Well, since it's fantasy, we're looking for maps. Oh, that's her. Oop. Miss Jemisin. Is there a map? Is there a map? No fantasy book is complete without a map. And look, there is. Okay. Well, we have to rotate. There. It's an island. The stillness. Looks good. Any indication of scale? Like, how big is it? 2,000 miles. So that's pretty large. Right? 2,000 miles. So it's about 4,000 miles across. And double that from north to south. Whoa. So that's a big place. And got an appendix even. And about 450 pages. Okay. Good. Then part 2 is called the Obelisk Gate. Okay. Again, intricate and extraordinary. Really? They say the same thing about the second book. Is there a new map? No. Still the stillness. Okay, so it appears that the book takes place in one single location. Okay, you've got some character lists, it seems. That's always helpful. Glossary of terms. Okay, that's nice. So a lot of world building going on, and thankfully the author is helping us by listing everything. And then finally, the stone sky. Now it's only extraordinary. So it's not intricate anymore. Can we deduce that? Okay. Yeah, these books are all published in one single livery orbit. And there's the map, same one. Okay. And I'm not sure if they've been reprinted in any other version, because this all looks pretty uniform, which is nice. Although, I mean, there's like differences in the design, but fine. The font is the same. Anyway, here we are. A whole trilogy, The Broken Earth. Looks great. I want to read that. Okay, next. In today's review part of our video, I will discuss 3 novels. They are in the genre of crime fiction, legal thrillers, or courthouse dramas, that kind of thing. I like this genre, although I have to admit it's very hard to find something that's very good. The reason I'm doing 3 books is because I wanted to bring you something positive. I'm pretty hard to please, and so there aren't all that many books. Well, there haven't been all that many books so far that really amazed me. So I tried to find a good book for the review of this video, and I kept on digging. The first one was no. The second one, the third one, okay. So the last one in the video, I feel quite okay about. Now, the first one, I don't have it anymore, but it's Presumed Innocent by a guy called Scot Turow. This book was published in 1987, and it's about crime. Right. Now, the plot revolves around a man. His name is Rusty, and he is a public prosecutor in a fictitious place in America. So he prosecutes criminals or suspected ones, and one day he finds himself at the sharp end of the stick. What's the idiom here? Well, he himself is now a suspect in a murder case, and the murder victim is none other than his former lover. Yeah. This man is married, but he's cheating on his wife. Oh no. And he feels bad about it. But one day he finds that his former lover has been murdered. And because he had that recent affair with her, his stuff is in her apartment. He had spent time in her place, touching things and dropping things, and so there is some reason to believe that he could be the perpetrator. Yeah. So the book then tries to take the reader by the hand and show a few little things here and there to, this is what the genre does. It tries to give some clues and hints as to who did it, and it tries to befuddle the reader too, pointing them into the wrong direction to eventually come up with the actual perpetrator, killer, murderer. Yeah. So in that respect, the book doesn't do much. It doesn't do anything unique, but it does do something very annoying, and that is that this character has a lot of internal monologues about how he feels, what he's done, and the consequences of his actions. And all the time he's like ruminating. That's a word I looked up. he is constantly thinking about what he's done, how it impacts his life. He feels very guilty about cheating on his wife and well, potentially murdering his lover. Or did he do it, or did he not do it? Well, you'll have to find that out yourself. But I don't really recommend this book at all. So no. Right, here it is. This book I still have, although not for long. Trying to sell it. This book is by the same author. It was released 3 years after the first one. This was his second book, and it's called The Burden of Proof. Now, in legal jargon, the burden of proof means that the prosecution will have to provide evidence for the suspect's guilt. The defendant has to just point out that prosecution doesn't have any evidence, if that's the case, right? If the defendant really didn't do it, it's not that the defendant needs to prove his innocence. No, that's not the way it works. It's the prosecution that should provide evidence for the guilt of that person. So the burden of proof lies with the prosecution. So that is the title. Now, again, we're looking at a legal thriller where there's a different character from in the first book, and this person is a defense attorney this time, not a prosecutor, and he has to deal with the suicide of his wife. That's like the background of the story. And at the same time, he represents a businessman who is now being accused of something that's called insider trading. This businessman has a big company, and he does stuff that's maybe a bit unethical. He knows about big deals coming up, that he can sell a lot of commodities, and before he sells those commodities, he makes the price go up, so that when the sale actually happens, he makes a lot more money than he would have otherwise. And the government is onto him. They know that something is not right, and that is the case. The burden of proof here lies with the prosecution to see if they can find enough evidence to get this business guy. Now, who cares about insider trading? It's not something that speaks to the imagination of anybody, right? We want to see blood and murder and stuff like that. So that in itself is already not very interesting, right? We don't want to cover some white-collar crime that just doesn't feel like it deserves our attention, my attention. And there are a lot of issues with the book. The lack of any interesting plot is one of them. The second one is the main character. He's a lawyer, but he is, well, the author chose to make him really, really distinct, very unique, but not in a good way. He speaks in a very stilted manner. He's a he's an immigrant. He comes from Argentina. He's now in the US. He has adopted a sort of speaking style or syntax that's, well, like, for example, he doesn't use contractions, and he uses the word shall all the time. I shall not comply with your subpoena, Your Honor, because it infringes upon the constitutional rights of my client, and he shall also not apply. Stuff like that. You can imagine it's not very fun to read. Also, he has to deal with the suicide of his partner. That's sort of the backstory. He needs to figure out what happened, why his wife was so depressed. He, for some reason, had no idea. And again, like with the first book, he's constantly going inside his own head and talking about, oh, what have I done? Oh, why didn't I see it coming? And what about my life, my decisions, all my choices that I've made? Or how do they impact my life? He has adult children who call him daddy and mommy. Cannot. And every of these children gets a full biography and backstory, and every time that this main character talks about his children, it's like a cutaway to some flashback, and then he talks about the flashback again, how that somehow has connections to the present situation, and how all the psychological developments in his family have resulted to these sort of dysfunctional relationships with his kids, and goes on and on and on. Yeah. So it's not even really a legal thriller. It's also like a family drama, a bad one. And I don't want to read about that, really. If you look at the cover, you think, okay, look, there, scales. burden of proof. Must be good, no? No, you get some completely chewed out family drama with lots of inner monologues and cogitations, inner thinkings, and psychoanalysis of the main character, of himself and everybody that he knows. And since he's now single again, he goes out and has sex with all lots of different women. And I don't know, is that really a compelling character? Well, no. So there you go. There are other flaws, but I won't get into those too much. It's all just bad enough. Don't read this book. My recommendation. Leave it. I'm leaving it. Go away. So then, in my search for a book that I could positively review in this video, I ended up with this one, although I wish it had been better. But alright, I cannot keep reading until I find something amazing, because that might not even exist. I do hope so, but I'm not sure about this genre anymore. Now here we have Steve Martini's Compelling Evidence from 1993. This author writes better than the previous one, I can tell you that. I like this more. What is the case here? Compelling evidence. So that's evidence that really means something in either way, either for the defense or for the prosecution. So usually, again, it's the prosecution that has to come up with the evidence. Whether that's compelling or not, well, that will decide the verdict of the judge and the jury. But if the title is Compelling Evidence, then you would expect that to happen in the book, wouldn't you? And it doesn't. Oh, okay, so what's going on here? Main character is, again, another defense lawyer. He is tasked with the defense of a murder suspect. The suspect, again, is, well, not again, this is a variation. The murder suspect is his former lover. Again, talking about a guy who's married, who had an affair with a woman, and the woman is now accused of murdering her husband, because the woman also is married, or was, because now her husband is dead, and she is suspected of killing him, because she would stand to gain a lot if the husband passed away during their marriage, right? Usually if there's a will, then the woman, the wife, will get some inheritance from the husband. The husband also happens to be the main character's former boss. And this guy was a lawyer. He worked at a law firm. The murder victim was the boss of that law firm. And so that is another thing that complicates matters. And so what happens is that the prosecution comes up with their theory of how the woman killed her husband for financial gain. And then it's up to our main character to what's the word? Refute? No? Yeah, refute? The evidence. Yeah, refute. Just trying to argue that the woman didn't do it, mainly due to the lack of evidence. And so what we see is then a court case play out where the evidence as presented in the book is very thin. And if you are a little bit familiar with these books, with these kind of genre fiction in the legal genre, then you know that the evidence that's presented is just very uncompelling. It's not compelling. So there's no suspense in the expectation that the woman gets convicted, because there's really nothing to convict her on. Everything is circumstantial, right? She was not seen at the crime scene. There are no fingerprints. There is a little bit of hair. There is a hair that plays a role, but you'll find out that also doesn't it doesn't mean that you did it. So there are other things going on in the background, which are not super significant, but I'm not going to spoil the whole thing. In case you do want to read it, I cannot wholeheartedly recommend it, but it's okay. It wasn't too bad. There is a plot twist. Isn't there always a plot twist? So keep reading, and who knows, you might be surprised, pleasantly surprised. I thought it was fine, maybe 3 out of 5 stars, but I'm still hoping one day I'll find a really good legal thriller. Maybe if you know any, let me know, because I want to know. I want to read those books. I want to I want to read good legal thrillers, not just okay ones. There you go. That's it for today. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.